So this is a new romance action crime drama from director Adam Rehmeier, who previously did Dinner in America, which is a movie I haven't seen, but I've seen like kind of float up and people bring up in on Twitter, a film Twitter conversation. So this is a follow up to that. It had a very brief theatrical release and is now available on VOD. It stars Samara Weaving and Kyle Gallner. It takes place in the, I think, late 80s, early 90s, pre-cell phone era. We meet Samara Weaving's Caroline in this one-horse town, kind of doing nothing with her life, but she has a criminal meet cute with Kyle Gallner's Oliver. She catches him running a con in the local gas station, filling station, calls him out on it, and they meet up and have a little bit more conversation, get to know each other. And turns out she's just, wanting to get out of this one-horse town, but doesn't know how. It's all she's ever known. And he's a bad boy driving a Camaro, this muscle car, kind of promises her the world. She's interested in finding her estranged mother who lives in Carolina. They start out in Texas, just for orientation. So they meet, they fall in love, and they hit the road. And she knows from the outset that he's a con man, that he's not a good guy. And they have a great conversation. She keeps asking him what he does, and he goes, "You know what I do." And then it's a great stuff. That, like I said, it's a good romance. And then they hit the road for a life of petty crime. Their cons get bigger and bigger. They eventually turns into bank robberies. But like all crime films of this kind of Bonnie and Clyde style, it has to end in tragedy. Lots to talk about here. Fun little movie. Zach, what'd you think?
So I didn't really know what to expect about this movie. I had heard it was getting a bit of buzz online, but I didn't hear a big splash from friends or anything. Not like Sheep Detectives, which we're going to talk about here in just a little while, which I felt like I heard about from everybody in my life. This one kind of flew under the radar a little bit, so I'm glad we got to catch it on VOD. It's a fun road movie, and Weaving and Gallner are kind of electric. Like, effectively, they're what makes this work. They're both wonderful. Gallner needs more work, like, really. My man, the biggest things I think he's been is the Smile movies. And this movie called Dinner in America, which came out in 2020, which actually came from this director, Adam Rehmeier. He made that movie in 2020. In 2024, Rehmeier made a movie called Snack Shack with Gabriel LaBelle, who played young Steven Spielberg in Meet the Fabelmans, that kid, right? Just the Fabelmans. But then he's made this movie now, this kind of road movie. And I like what's happening here, but admittedly, I did find myself feeling like it was starting to fall into these ruts of films that I had seen before, especially on the pod. I thought of that movie, Bones and All right, starring Timothée Chalamet, Luca Guadagnino film, which is another kind of road movie through like the southeast. That's got a little bit more bloody and gory than what's going on here. This is different. This is kind of a con thing, and this is southern, and it's got a twang, and it's got a lot of great needle drops. But I feel like I guess I thought it was going to be more than it was, and it ends up being kind of a humble feature about these two sort of Bonnie and Clyde characters. So solid. I think I was overhyped. I don't know. I thought bigger things were going to happen by the end. You know what I mean? It felt like it was all building to something greater. So yeah.
Yeah, our performances are top notch. Like Samara Weaving, who's from Australia, does a really good Southern accent. And same thing with Kyle Gallner. Like they're both bringing like their A game to these roles, and it's very sweet and it has some very touching moments. Unfortunately, the script and story just ends up being really cliche. It starts off so strong where they're, talking about like their dreams of going elsewhere in the world, and kind of this midlife ennui that they're both experiencing, and she's got this whole family backstory subplot and that she wants to explore. Am I just as bad as my mother who left? And then it just falls into every crime film you've ever seen, where of course the crimes get bigger, they get more dangerous, someone gets hurt, they're eventually on the lam, and you've seen 100 movies like that, and it stops exploring those themes that it originally starts with, the stuff that's real interesting, and then like the mother subplot doesn't come, it disappears for an hour, and then it comes back kind of at the end, and I was like, oh, I completely forgot about that. So unfortunately, like while we have these 2 stars and this great I love the look of this film. Like it captures that '90s look of like cars and the money and all that stuff really well. But yeah, it's very cliche after about halfway through.
It feels really good to see an actor and an actress who I think have so much talent and who so often get kind of trapped in B roles or smaller films, like maybe supporting stuff. It feels so good to see them at the front and being great at it. Like Gallner is hypnotizing as this kind of like man from nowhere who like seems to know all of this, how to kind of con people and rob people. And as he teaches Weaving's character, like Caroline, Oliver and Caroline are their names, as he teaches Caroline like how to do this stuff and how to pickpocket people and things start to escalate, like there's a real pleasure to it. As they're getting to know each other, right? Their feelings are growing, their scores are getting bigger. You have these wonderful montages of them set to this like wonderful blues country music. I love how this movie feels. And I like that it takes it serious. It knows when to hit the brakes when it's supposed to. Because obviously things are getting more serious. We're doing bigger crimes. We're starting to see wanted posters of us around town. You know, what are we going to do, Oliver? The first time you see a gun pulled on somebody in this movie, there's absolutely no music. It is silent. It is like deadly serious. It is a gun in somebody's face. And it is quiet and it's dramatic and it is meaningful. And then almost every time you see it for the next two-thirds of the movie, there's music and it's bouncy and it's fun and it's action. And then towards the end, as things get serious again, that starts to get pulled back out and it starts to be like, hey, this is real stuff. We are not just having this can't just be a movie. You know what I mean? Like this has to go somewhere. There has to be an ending to this journey. And that stuff I think is good and dramatic where it needs to be. The action's fun where it needs to be. But yeah, like it's hard not to think of films like Hell or High Water, right? Which like just gets this just a little bit better. It gets it just, I don't know what it is exactly. It turns the screws just a little tighter and it manages to work just a little smoother than Caroline to Caroline. This is a lot of fun. Maybe it's the love in the middle of it. Maybe it's the love story. I don't know.
Well, like the horror genre, you use the genre to say something about society or your characters, or, you know, you think of the great crime films like Scarface or Goodfellas. Or again, this reminds me a lot of Hell or High Water. Those movies are saying things about our characters or about our current society, like the American Dream, those sorts of things. And this is, like I said, it starts that way, and then it just doesn't really go anywhere. Even with our romance, we start off with this real interesting meet cute, and they hit it off, and they're totally into each other. And then, like, their relationship just doesn't really develop once they start criming. Because it's just doing the crimes. They're not learning more about each other as people or growing as a couple. It just kind of all of a sudden our relationship goes on pause while we do the crime spree part, the Bonnie and Clyde part. And so again, we're not developing the romance very much either, which is a shame because, like I said, like they're acting their faces off. They're so good on camera. It's just the script isn't interesting enough.
Speaking of good on camera, there are no small parts. Kyra Sedgewick is in this film in exactly one scene, and she's so great, dude. She needs to act more. I know she's kind of like semi-retired or whatever, but like she's tremendous as this kind of drifter character who ends up coming in later in the film. Just wonderful. I think she is so great as this kind of twisted person who's older and has been down that road and has seen the things you've seen and can tell you that things are not going to get better for you, girl. Kind of fantastic. And as things start to swell between Caroline and Oliver and things begin to come to a head, like it becomes all too obvious that like the dream's got to end, right? In one way or another. Kind of a special movie. I get also why I didn't hear too much about it. Like it seems to land in this space where like it is cool at what it does. I've just maybe seen it done better in recent memory. Difficult to recommend, I guess. But any other thoughts or recommendations?
I'm ready.
Andy, would you recommend Caroline and Caroline?
This is perfect for streaming, which is where it's available. It's available on VOD. It's a fun little crime movie, and we have really good performances from our leads. Unfortunately, it falls into very common cliched territory of crime films that you've seen before. You kind of know where it's going to go all along the way. But it's a fun little ride.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. Caroline is a lot of fun, and it's a good time. It is currently on VOD for $10. I don't know if I would spend $10 on watching this movie. But when it comes to streaming, it's something you already pay for. Totally throw this on. Absolutely. Like if it's a subscription you're already in, Netflix, Prime, HBO, whatever, throw on Caroline. Solid road movie. Again, Kyle Gallner and Samara Weaving rock. They both need more work. They're both tremendous. Put these people in more movies soon. They're really good. And I'm kind of looking forward to what Adam Rehmeier does next as well. A fun indie road flick. That's Caroline. Andy, we're going to talk about our top 5 of the year so far. I think I have a bumper for music for this, but do you want to bring us in and I can make it fancy?
Sure thing. Top 5 of the year so far. So we've just hit July. We just celebrated the July 4th holiday weekend. We're halfway through the year.